Posting the Outstanding Cedar Creek and Oakhurst High School is important to all the clerks and municipalities within the school district. There are two opportunities to address the members of the board. The board values and welcomes comments and opinions from residents as long as remarks are not personal or discouraging. The public comment portion of the meeting allows the board to listen to community members and to hear their opinions on school policy and operation. The first public portion is reserved for persons wishing to speak about agenda items only. The second opportunity following the action items where the residents may address the board on all school-related issues. Each speaker is asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes and you're not permitted to yield your time to another. Following the portion of the meeting, their both sessions will not exceed 30 minutes. Upon being recognized, persons wishing to speak should stand and identify themselves by name and town.
Please stand for the flag salute.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I ask for a moment of silence.
Baldwin. Here. Capone.
Here.
Carr. Cheatham.
Here.
Erickson.
Present.
Garrison.
Here.
Gunther.
Here.
Sartoria.
Here.
Howe.
Here.
Davenport.
Okay, I need a recommendation for the approval of the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Any corrections or questions about the minutes?
Baldwin.
Yes.
Capone.
Yes.
Cheatham.
Yes.
Erickson.
Yes.
Garrison.
Yes.
Gunther.
Yes.
Sartoria.
Yes.
Howe.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Committee reports, personnel.
Personnel, we just reviewed the items that are on tonight's agenda in terms of the people that will be moving and changing schools.
Policy, Mrs. Garrison.
Yes, we had a meeting this past week, and our biggest policy that we were talking about is the parking. And we do need to still continue to talk about this, but I would like if we could discuss it as a board, so we have some other input. And we do have more policy to go over, so we're going to need to set up another meeting. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Negotiations is a report.
Sure. We had a very lovely meeting with the administrators to talk about their 3 respective contracts. And we have another plan for this week, so moving along. We also appreciate them waiting. We made this comment to them in person, but it's towards them here. Between budget issues and personnel changes on the committee, we were waiting quite a while to talk to them, and we really appreciate the fact that they gave us such generosity and time to get grounded. So thank you very much.
Can you please speak up? People in the back cannot hear you, even though you have microphones.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, there's different microphones tonight, so let us know and we'll try to get closer to them. We just don't want to blow you out of the water.
So we had a meeting last week with the 3 administrative groups that we do not have a contract yet for, and they were very forgiving. We delayed quite a bit between the teacher's contract, what with the things that went on, trying to make sure that was definitely settled, and then changes on our committee. So it took us a little while to hit the ground, but we're now hitting the ground running. We had a lovely meeting with them last week. We have another meeting scheduled for this week, and we very much appreciate their patience while we were getting our act together.
Thank you. Okay, this time, before I open the floor to public comment, I asked if Mrs. Capone is the head of our personnel committee, if she would make a statement, like read a statement from the board, just to kind of fill you in on where we are.
Can you hear me in the back? Can you raise your hand? Okay, great. Anticipating a significant interest in the question of outsourcing the paraprofessionals, we have prepared a statement from the 5 non-conflicted members of the board. First, let me thank you for coming here tonight. Your concern for our district and our children is one we share. That's what brings us here for meetings and keeps us working to make the best choices. We are concerned for our kids, and we are concerned for all the team members of our 3 schools. Working to cut $4.7 million has been a challenge, and this board and the administration have worked diligently to investigate every possibility possible. Cuts were made at all levels, and those programs were preserved. Buses, which were once on the cutting block, are back. You may rise tonight to tell us how wonderful our paraprofessionals are, how they help the neediest of our students to find success, how they operate with professionalism, commitment, and affection for their charges. They are well-trained, committed, and perform essential tasks. We wholeheartedly agree. We are doing all we can to save them. At this point, we have squeezed as much as we can out of the old money, and our hopes at this point for keeping the paraprofessionals are tied to the health insurance plans for next year. Enrollment is currently underway. Thoughtful, considered inquiries into the health offerings led us to options this year, which can help reduce the insurance costs, which are over $30,000 per person, while still providing excellent health care. If enough employees enroll in this plan, the savings may help us to restore the paraprofessionals. However, it is possible that despite our best efforts, we may not realize the savings we need. It is possible that we may still need to outsource the paras. Please understand that we have really done the research and planning we want to clarify. All current paras will be offered employment with the new agency. Any other hires would be local job seekers. We will maintain input and control over who is hired and retained. All paras, indeed anyone who works with our children, must be fingerprinted and background checked. Rest assured, we know that other schools are doing this and having success. Special Services, just down the road, has a mix of their own and contracted providers, and it is working well for them. Again, we do appreciate your interest and commitment. Please understand that our lack of engagement with union rhetoric is not a lack of concern for your friends and colleagues, and know that we are all doing what we can to retain them. I would like to commend my colleagues on the board, because I know every committee has focused on preserving elements that ensure student achievement, and kept that figure of $350,000 in their mind. Every day we get an update to see how much closer we are to that goal. Today we are up to $140,000, so we still need another $210,000. It is not yet June, and we still have hope. Thank you.
Okay, before anyone would come up to speak, there are microphones. You would identify yourself before you speak. The way we work, there's a time limit, so if you would come up, make your comments, we will listen. At the end of public comment, if there's anything that anyone on the needs to address, a question or anything, we do that at the end so that we don't keep starting and stopping. So at this time, and also because of the items on the agenda tonight, there isn't anything there about the paras, but we're going to say at this time we're opening the public comment to any items you wish to share. Okay, so anyone wishing to speak can come up to a microphone.
Good evening. I'm Stephanie Tarr, President of the Greater Egg Harbor Regional Education Association. I'm here to speak to you about the board's firing of our paraprofessionals and your consideration to privatize their jobs to an outside company. We are here tonight to take a proactive, rather than a reactive position regarding replacing our loyal and dedicated paraprofessionals with strangers employed by an outside, only-for-profit company. While we all understand the economics of running a school district, there are times that savings is not the most important factor, and is, in reality, penny wise and pound foolish. This is one of those times, and you must ask yourself the question, is the savings worth the cost? I would ask all of the paraprofessionals that are facing the loss of their jobs, health insurance, and in some cases their pensions, to please stand and face the board. $25,000 a year, enough to qualify for food stamps. I would like each board member to look into the eyes of the dedicated and loyal paraprofessionals that you plan to put out of work. Your decision to subcontract the paraprofessionals would put approximately 33 loyal employees out of work. You might think that they might work for a company you bring in, but our members are not interested in continuing to provide their outstanding services by working for a company for less pay, no benefits, and no pension. If you think that a private company will continue to provide the same level and quality of services to our students using the current paraprofessionals, you're wrong. You will be dealing with strangers brought in by an outside company that has no loyalty to this district or the students. These people have no relationships with the staff or students with whom they shall work. Remember, any company you bring in has the sole purpose of making a profit, not providing the level of education assistance to which our students have become accustomed. If you think differently, you really haven't done your homework on these companies. Should you privatize, the caring and personalized service currently provided to our students by our paraprofessionals will be gone. While you may claim that a few districts have had success using outside companies, very few have a company providing full-time paraprofessionals. These companies are mostly familiar with providing substitutes, and there are a lot more horror stories than success stories. Our paraprofessionals have advanced training in behavior analysis, autism disorders, child abuse awareness, bullying recognition, CPR training, and much, much more. Some of them have advanced degrees. Do you really think the employees sent here by a private company will have that training? I doubt it, especially in light of the proven high turnover rate of these strangers. What you are considering doing is just plain wrong. It is not in the best interest of your long-term and dedicated employees, the district, or most importantly, the students who these paraprofessionals work with day in and day out. These students do not deserve second-class service by strangers who don't care. Think about the students. That's what you're here for. Please do the right thing for the benefit of the students and the district, and keep our paraprofessionals. Thank you.
There has not been a time in my educational upbringing that I can't remember there not being a paraprofessional to help me within the classroom. It was always nice to see someone from our community who my parents knew would be there to greet me and help me with my work. I would always create a strong bond with the paras in the classroom. They always made me feel comfortable and confident. I could easily open up to them. They have a huge role in my education. I honestly do not know if I would make it through school without them. They help me differentiate my assignments, read texts, and help take notes. Privatizing the paraprofessionals is a very, very poor decision. Kids need consistency. Bringing a new paraprofessional in each day and week would be detrimental to the student's education. For example, if a student with an IEP needs modifications, a full-time paraprofessional, which is present daily, will know exactly what to do. But if a student is working on a project with a para's help, then the next day, there's someone new. It would be so hard to work with a different paraprofessional every day. It would just be too confusing. Every day, the teacher would have to go over each student's modification with a complete stranger. How would you like to come into work every day with a different team or coworker? How could you be productive? How could you get things done correctly? What benefits do you see in privatizing? All you have forgotten about is who is important, the student. You have no right to rob the students of Greater Carver Regional High School District educationally. I am graduating this year. Next year I will be attending Stockton University. And without the dedication and support of the paraprofessionals and the teachers at Cedar Creek, none of this might be possible. I feel bad for the future students of this district. They will never see the same dedication I did. They will never have that one constant para that will work with them for 4 years. And all because our board thought saving money was more important than the dedication and consistency to our students. There is nothing that you're going to achieve in making them privatize. All you're going to do is mess with the students' education and ruin it. You're going to just confuse them and make their education a lot harder. Because I know I needed a lot of help through school. And if you do this, you're going to be ruining a lot of people's education. Because it was really hard for me to get through school without the parents. Don't do this. You're making a bad decision.
Good evening. I'm Myron Plotkin, the NJA representative for the association, as well as a resident and taxpayer in Galloway Township for over 30 years. I'm here tonight to tell you that privatizing paraprofessionals does not work, and let me explain why. First, there's little or no accountability to the residents or district administrators, as these employees are employees of a private company and are not district employees. Thus, they answer to the company and not to the district. If a problem or issue arises, parents and administrators must go through the employing company to try to rectify the issue or problem, as the company has a final say as to managing their own employees. Simply stated, the district and administrators have given up all control over these outside employees. While the company may promise that you will have input into the selection, discipline, and retention of the employees they send to you, input, remember, is only advisory, and the company has the final say. Second, will there be the same evaluation of these employees as is now done with district employees? And who will be responsible for evaluating the performance of these employees? They don't work for you, and as such, a final evaluation would rest with their employer, the private company, and not with the district. Third, district employees view themselves as a vital part of the system of education and routinely perform a range of tasks that are not typically thought of as being part of a formal job description, but are virtually important by providing a high-quality education for students. Outsiders or strangers to the district have no loyalty or attachment to the district or the students, nor will they do more than the minimum requirements. Fourth, private contractors base their sales pitch on the premise that they can provide the same or greater services at a lower cost. In other words, the same for less. In reality, less is really the same. Remember, you get exactly what you pay for. Fifth, to provide services that cost less results in cutting corners or skimping on the quality of work performed. keep their costs low, companies typically pay low wages, provide no or few benefits, making it difficult for them to attract and retain a qualified workforce. That is why there's a high absenteeism rate and a high turnover rate. And if an employee calls out, the company may send in another stranger to fill in if they can even find one available. And if not, the position is not filled for the day. So here are some questions for you and your administrators to ask yourself. Do the employees being sent to your district have the same types of training as your current staff? That probably would be doubtful, as these strangers only work for the company for short periods of time or until they can find another job with better pay and benefits. There is no continuity. Will any academic gains be achieved by students as a result of privatization?
Mr. Plotkin, if you can try to wrap up.
I will get it done in 1 minute. How much control will you really have over the performance and behavior of the contracted employees? Why have other districts considered privatization of paraprofessionals and decided against it, or tried it and returned to district employees? We know that districts much larger than yours have changed their minds. Uniregional just recently considered privatization and then changed their mind. And Gehrsd Township considered privatization and then said no when the board directed the superintendent not to privatize. Gehrsd Township also changed its mind on privatizing its paraprofessionals, as did Gloucester County Special Services and Paulsboro. Why did these districts all say no to privatization? Because they did their homework and did not blindly believe what the company was selling. They did what was right for the students in the district, and I challenge you to do the same. Go to the few districts that may have privatized and speak not only to the administrators, but more importantly to the teaching staff that work with the outside employees and get their thoughts on whether they think privatization really works. Also, ask any prospective company if they guarantee the same high level of performance by their employees as your current district employees. And will they be held accountable for any failure to perform, and what penalty would be assessed if they don't? Finally, just let me relay to you a couple of documented incidents involving privatization.
Mr. Plotkin,
I have 30 seconds.
I've heard enough of you the last 3 years already.
In one district, the CEO of the company acknowledged and admitted in the press that his company's complete failure to provide the services as promised was a problem. As a result, IEPs of special needs students were violated by the district, and civil rights charges are against the district by handling. In another incident, a contracted paraprofessional kicked the boy she was working with after he was horsing around with her daughter. It was hours until the incident was reported to the administration and parent. Police reports were filed, and the district is now facing charges. The company has stated it will support the district. In a district just down the street, the district complained to the company that an employee was having excessive student contact. That employee was allowed to continue to work until another student complained that the employee had hit him on the head. The district also complained to the company of persistent and widespread lateness, which included 7 employees being late 32 times in 1 month. Other complaints by the district included neglect of duties, use of cell phones during instructional time, sleeping on the job, and violations of school policies. These are examples of well-documented incidents and are only the tip of the iceberg as far as what you will be facing should you decide to privatize. I could go on, but I hope you have all gotten the message loud and clear. Privatization has not worked, does not work, and will not work. Learn from the mistakes of others, and don't privatize your paraprofessionals. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carolyn Schultz. I live at 1 Southwest Hickman Avenue, Ventnor, New Jersey. I am a teacher in Pennsauken, special ed teacher. This is my 30th year teaching. I love my job, but I could never do it without my educational assistants and our paraprofessionals. I am here because I know that you are all under a great amount of stress when you're having to fire people, making cuts, budgetary cuts. So I'm here to read you a lovely story called Ain't Honey of a Problem, The Sting of Privatization. It kind of goes about talking about what everyone's talked about in a little bit of a different way. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
You got 3 minutes.
Each day in the hive, bees love making honey. They focus on quality more than money. They work with great care in all that they do. It's honey that matters. They're loyal, true blue. They're more than just workers doing their job. The hive is their haven, not some honeycomb blob. Buzzing around in the hive, they do good. It's here they belong, for this is their hood. But one day the queen, for some unprovoked reason, fired the bees, and mosquitoes just breezed in. They took up bees' jobs. The bees were confused. Privatization is the word the mighty queen used. But the hive is our passion, cried the bees, for they knew that mosquitoes just take, don't give like they do. The bees were all shocked and expressed their dismay. Without us, the hive will simply decay. The queen bee believed the bees were replaceable. Just pay the bug wages. Anyone is capable. What wasn't so evident to her at the time is commitment drives quality, not the almighty dime. So the bees, they flew silent, their wings flapping low. Without work in their hive, they had no place to go. Dejected and sad, their future looked bleak. How could they survive week after week? Chaos ensued as mosquitoes stepped in. They had no idea as to where to begin. They questioned and fumbled, and the work piled high. The mosquitoes didn't care, and the hive became dry. The queen bee grew restless. Our hive, it has needs. The mosquitoes just smiled and doubled their fees. I'm all out of money. Stop wasting my time. You must do as you promised. Now fall into line. We don't care, they responded. We'll do as we please. We hate making honey, but you can't make us leave. We know what we said, but it wasn't all true. We have no stake here to do as bees do. What a mess, cried the queen, as she flew through the hive. I must have my bees back if this hive is to thrive. Realizing the mistake of her thinking, she acted. The deal with mosquitoes was quickly retracted. She gathered the bees. I need you, she said. It takes caring workers to move us ahead. Boldly she claimed, I see your true worth. Privatization must end for all hives on earth. They cheered and rejoiced, so glad to be back, eager to work, get the hive back on track. For honey is vital, and in order to thrive, it takes bees, not mosquitoes, for a hive to survive. I believe that was under 2 minutes. And I just want to say, by saying, your bees here, they all vote.
Hello, my name is Autumn. I live in Elwood with my mom and 4 other siblings. I attend Gehrsd through the magnet program. I do ROTC, and I actually like Gehrsd. My mom works here and is loved by many of the students and almost all of the staff. Most of the students call her mom, and they call me sister. My mom is single. She's a single parent, making it on her own with 5 kids. I don't know how many of you guys have kids, but I know it's kind of hard. And she has 5, and she's doing it alone. And she's the only income in the house because I'm not even old enough to work. I'm 14, and yeah. I know like you guys are saying is budget cutting, if you guys like have people walking out when people are trying to say something, and I don't think that's professional. So I don't know what firing them is gonna do, because like I said, my mom right here, she's loved by everybody, and I'm sure everybody right here is loved by everybody. And it's just, you guys just don't fire them, because that, honestly, it's just don't fire them. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emily Lind, and I go to Cedar Creek through the magnet program. First off, I just want you to take a look across this entire auditorium. There's not a single pair of eyes here that does not want all of these lovely ladies and gentlemen to not keep going here. They all want them to stay. And I wrote a small paragraph. It's only 3 minutes. You see our aids and you see an asset, a paycheck that you have to send, a name in a book. But when we see them, they are not just an aid, not just for the children that they've grown with over the years and have gotten to know closely. An aid to our professional problems too. I know as a swim captain and all the other swimmers have a close relationship to Miss Thomas. So close, we do indeed call her mom, which she has recently become. Without her income in her family, there'd be a single income by only her husband to provide. And that is not enough for surely 3 people in a home. When you look at all these lovely ladies and gentlemen, I would hope that you would take the time to see a story and a family, not just at home, but also at school. She is our mom, a constant help and support throughout our daily tasks. Imagine having your mother stripped away from you and being replaced with someone new daily. Getting to know them and for them to get to know you. It's a task that is tireless, and by investing in this new company, these children that need help will not get the full care that they deserve, switching through different caregivers constantly. So please take into consideration keeping our aides, our support, our family.
The Association Vice President at Gehrsd. I have a very specific question for the board regarding the logistics of privatization. In the general requirements packet that I assume will be given to any respondents to your RFP, you ask for success stories only. The association wants to know why the Board of Ed would not want the whole truth, good and bad, about any potential bidders. I would also like to present you with a petition against privatization with 180 signatures of residents of the district. I'll give it to you, Mr. Wolfman. And that's all. Thanks.
My name is Susan Kane. I'm a teacher at Cedar Creek High School, not only a teacher, but also a parent of a special needs student. I'd like to address the privatization also. Putting more weight and emphasis on dollars and cents of this policy is natural because it's the easiest way to calculate. But we need to take a closer look at some of the factors which are not as easily measured, such as the culture we create in our schools and the relationships we develop with our students. Students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And nowhere is this more true than with our special education students. Building relationships with them is vital, and our paraprofessionals in our schools do that. When I began this school year, Kevin Cady and I worked together. He was a paraprofessional. We didn't know one another. He immediately knew 8 kids on my roster and was able to very quickly give me a thorough summation of each from his experience with them from previous years. Their strengths and weaknesses, the sports they played, obstacles they'd overcome, family issues they'd struggled with. This is immeasurable. Jada Alcova and I spent last year with one particular student, and this year again with the same student, with complicated social issues that thankfully most of us will never have to deal with. I watched Jada feed her, give her school supplies, connect with that student in a way that nobody else at Cedar Creek was able to do. And after Jada left for a brief medical leave, I watched that student decline and eventually drop out. And I wonder if, the situation had been different and Jada was able to be there for her because she was such a great influence on her, if that student would have stayed. This is immeasurable. Liz Thomas works with a student one-on-one in my classroom as well. I've witnessed the communication that she has with the family and the student, the gratitude that they have for her. This is immeasurable. Shannon Hardy, Gehrsd graduate and former student of mine, proud to say, works one-on-one with a student in our district as well. I watched her make incredible progress with that student. When that student was recognized at our prom this past Saturday, a colleague of mine turned to me and said, "We have to call or text Shannon. She would want to see this." This is immeasurable. Teresa King, I've connected with her, and she has connected with our students in a way that I have not been able to do, and this is immeasurable. Sherry Miller, whose daughter, Christine, graduated from Cedar Creek. I was blessed to work with her for 2 years on field day. She works with those REACH kids every single day. She loves them and cares for them more than anybody that I've ever seen. This is immeasurable. I could go on and on. The paraprofessionals that Jerry Lynn and James and Scott have hired support the teachers and support the students in ways that are immeasurable. If we privatize, we are entrusting that vital responsibility to someone else. And in doing so, we are jeopardizing the segment of our student population that is most in need of consistency, most in need of connection, and most in need of support. They choose people that have a vital interest in our students and our community. I respectfully request that you reconsider this decision and maintain full control of the employment of our paraprofessionals.
Hello, my name is Robert Ross. I'm a parent of a child that goes here in a self-contained class in the REACH program. And I'm here to support the paraprofessionals, Ms. Cafferty, Daltrey, Mr. Booth, and Mr. Eddie. Somebody once said a society will be judged based upon how they treat the elderly and the very young. And I want to also throw in there the disabled. These kids in the REACH program, they have a special relationship with these paraprofessionals. And for you to pull them out and bring in new people, you're going to destroy the program. My son is very attached to these paraprofessionals. And when a new person comes in, even as a substitute, it has an effect on him. And sometimes he doesn't even want to come to school because of the newness of dealing with that person. But my son is used to these paraprofessionals. He likes to come to school, he likes to deal with them. And for you to remove them, it's going to have a devastating effect on him, and I'm sure a lot of the other children. Somebody said privatizing is successful in other districts. Well, how do you judge that? By dollars and cents? What the impact it's going to have on the children? See, that's something we forget about. When you just look at dollars and cents and don't look at the impact it's going to have on the children, you're responsible. And I wouldn't sign my name to any proposal that's going to hurt these children. And you're going to hurt them. You may not hear about it, and then again you might, but you're going to hurt these children. And you're going to be responsible. And I wouldn't want that on my conscience. These paraprofessionals, you should be doing all you can to try to retain them and keep them. You know how hard it is to work with children with disabilities and the pressure they're under, the stress, and what it takes to deal with a child with disability. I've been around children with disabilities a great part of my life, and believe me, most people can't deal with it. But you have a group of people here that come to work, they want to deal with it, and they love doing their job. And you're going to bring in a private company with a bunch of people that care nothing about your children? That's sinful. You can't do something like that. Because you're going to harm these children. You're going to destroy your REACH program. And it's going to take months to try to build that program back up because of the devastation you're going to do to it if you get rid of these people. So I want you to reconsider. If your child was in the REACH program or with a disability, you'd be standing right here where I am saying the same thing I'm saying. Because you live with the reality of it every day. And I'm wrapping up, but I just want to say to you, you don't know how many times Mr. James, Mr. Booth, Ms. Cafferty have helped me with my son. And believe me, somebody that comes in here working for a private company, they don't care, they're not going to go out of their way like they have to help me and my child, because they don't care. And believe me, to them it's just going to be a job. I want you to reconsider what you're doing, not only to the children, but to them, because you're going to have to live with it.
Hi, my name is Leanna Mullen, and I am an Oak Crest graduate from 2007. 10 years ago, I was here, and I had amazing teachers when I was here. And I also met my husband here, who had amazing teachers and paraprofessionals when he was here. He started out in self-contained, moved into in-class resource, and as soon as we were able to graduate, he found a wonderful job because of the work that the teachers and the paraprofessionals did. It's the work that they put in that I can say firsthand because I've been a paraprofessional, and now I work at Egg Harbor Township because of the amazing, amazing job that these guys have done. And I know what you guys up here, it really is a thankless job, and I do understand that. I understand that you don't get this kind of crowd when you're doing the right thing. I get that. But if that tells you anything, these people are out here because they want you to understand that their students, that their families are here, that they need these services. That should be a wake-up call. That's all I want to say.
Good evening. My name is Betty Miller, and I've lived in Galloway for 8 years. I am the Atlantic County representative for the NJEA Executive Committee. I have never been more disappointed in the potential decision by our school board. Paraprofessionals contribute more to this district, more to our schools, and more to the lives of our children than any dollar amount could possibly represent. These paraprofessionals know our students. They work with them every day. And quite frankly, it's their passion that makes a difference every single day. Should you choose to privatize, let me rephrase that. Should you choose to fire them, these 33 people, you and you alone, will be responsible for removing that passion from this district. Make no mistake, this is not a financial decision. This is a school decision, a decision that affects everyone, from those that are fired to those that benefits from these 33 dedicated individuals all year long. That includes teachers, parents, and of course, our students. These paraprofessionals are not a financial burden to this district. In the end, you may save a few pennies, but what you lose would be impossible to calculate. You lose dedication, you lose commitment, you lose years of knowledge, experience, and countless training hours that these paraprofessionals have completed for this district, this school, and our students. So if it's not about money, it's not about what's good for our students, our children, what do you have to gain from this? I have to ask, what do you want strangers in our schools? I've been around long enough to see what happens when school districts bring in untrained, inexperienced strangers into our schools. It's not a good thing. And the worst part, do you know who suffers the most? Because it won't be these 33 people who lose their salary and benefits. It will be our students, the students who try to get help from strangers, the students who have no consistency in the classroom because new people, non-educators, I might add, are sent in every day. I implore you, think about our students. Think about this community. Don't bring strangers into our schools. Don't privatize our paraprofessionals.
I'm just going to ask you to give me 1 minute. We're hitting our 30-minute mark, so at this time, since we have some more people standing that would like to speak, if the board, if it's okay with the rest of the board members, I'd like to have permission to just let everybody keep going so we can finish up. Well, yeah, we usually have time at the beginning and time at the end, so this would be for anybody. So if anybody wanted to talk about agenda items that hasn't spoken to, you would need to do it now.
Mrs. Howe, are we saying those who are standing may continue to speak?
Yeah,
Those in line? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah. Sorry. Time to myself. Yeah. Thank you for waiting.
Michael Giovico, Oakcrest graduate, class of 2013. I recently just graduated from the University of Virginia, where I spent the past year taking a class called the Science and Lived Experience of Autism. And upon arrival after my last final, the first day back, I met with Mr. Keenan to try to better understand your position on this touchy topic. And I mulled over it for the past couple weeks since then. And the best argument that I got during this conversation is that everyone that enters this building is a stranger on their first day. Now that makes sense when we're dealing with substitutes that are coming in one at a time, but when you have the possibility of changing over an entire staff of individuals, it becomes a whole entire staff of strangers, which for the students that are affected by this decision, that will inevitably create a large degree of anxiety for them to go from having an entire staff that they were used to the possibility of a staff that is entirely different. And you have an obligation as a Board of Education to provide the least restrictive environment for these students. That is the law. And when you allow, if your decision causes an entire staff of individuals to lose their jobs and create an anxious situation for a lot of these individuals that will impede their education, you are going to be required to send them to a less restrictive environment. That is the law. In any sense that you are gaining from this situation, you are going to end up losing, perhaps in legal battles or perhaps in paying for their tuition elsewhere. And all this is going to cause is a year from now, we are going to have to pull funds from somewhere else. This isn't a matter of trying to find places to pull money. This is an area that you cannot pull money from, because you will lose it again. If you want to make this a financial situation, I'm telling you now that the financial benefits that you're gaining are going to become costs very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Crystal Tarapelli. I'm here to speak for my son in the REACH program, Dylan Tarapelli. He's in 11th grade, and I'm very concerned about how these changes will affect him. I'm asking you now to take a look at him, see what his disabilities are. There's more than what you can even see. He's also hearing impaired. He's had multiple surgeries, too many for me to even name right now in the time constraint. He depends on the skilled paras for all of his needs. His needs are great, and he requires a trained and capable person to assist him with writing, eating, toileting, navigating the crowded hallways safely. These paras have helped him for the past 3 years and have become a huge part of his life. Having the same consistent people has contributed to his success. These wonderful people here have gone above and beyond to ensure his safety
and well-being over these past 3 years. They've helped him get through many surgeries, many obstacles. Because of them, he feels secure and confident at school, and without them, he would likely require skilled nursing during his school day. Consider the cost of that. Plans to reduce paraprofessionals next year or contract them out from a private company could cause huge problems for his son, for my son, for him. He depends on having a consistent and trained person, not a different person every day. Look at him and consider how long the training would take. Consider his safety. Someone has to lift him. He's as large as me. He has to be lifted and moved, and his equipment alone. The amount of time it takes to train somebody to work with him. Tell me how an outside agency is going to handle that.
Good evening. My name is Tina Dare, 912 Ford Road, Monroeville. I came tonight, I'm a high school chemistry teacher, and I came tonight to support these amazing paraprofessionals. And I didn't have any intention of speaking, I just wanted to be here to support them. But as I listened tonight, one of the things that I heard is that you said you were $210,000 short. And if we think about that, we think about 180 days, so we divide that by 180. We're down to about $1,166 a day. Divide that by each of these employees that we're talking about up here. That's about $35 a day for each of them. Is it really worth, think about this, $35 a day we're talking about. After everything you heard tonight, is it really worth that? So please consider that when you make your decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Barbara Rowe. I'm a Mulligan Township resident, 2554 Fifth Avenue, Sweetwater. I am Local Association President in Mulligan Township. I am also second Vice President for the County Association, and I am the chair of the NJEA Working Conditions Committee. This past weekend, our deliberative body, the Delegate Assembly, voted on a recommendation from my committee about subcontracting, outsourcing, and privatization. So if the data that you have that it works at special services for outsourcing can outweigh the myriad of testimony and data that my committee collected in order to make a recommendation against outsourcing and taking a stand to protect not only the jobs of paras, but your staff, all staff employed in your districts, then you are sadly receiving bad information if you think outsourcing works. It doesn't. A lot of my own support professionals sends her daughter to Cedar Creek High School. Her para in Mullica Township was her best friend, according to the mother. Her para from Mullica still goes and sees her student on Wednesdays for Girl Days. She isn't her para anymore, but I also know that her para at Cedar Creek is now her new best friend. And that's the only thing that my mother, my member, feels that keeps her local and keeps her in Greater Egg Harbor Regional. Because if you remove that support network from her, and you have a stranger that comes in who has to learn every intimate detail in order to care for that child, that mother is that potential cost savings who will pull her child so quickly and put her into special services in order to get the support that she knows she's going to receive from known paras, people who have had hours, countless hours of training, not somebody that might come in. Because in Mullica, our long-term paras that we get from Source for Teachers, not going to happen anymore. We're dropping Source for Teachers. All these companies, they don't provide what our children need. It's disingenuous to basically extort the members of the Greater Egg Harbor Regional District to take a better insurance plan and health benefits with a promise to save paras. It's extortion. I don't come and talk to you, nor do you have a crowd like this when you're doing the right thing, and yes, it is a thankless job. However, when people come out like this, they come out because it's a problem, and it's very serious. So if you want to be penny wise and pound foolish, go ahead. But everybody will remember that decision.
Mr. Keenan, Mr. Grossi, board members. My name is Kevin Cady, and I've been a paraprofessional at Cedar Creek since the school opened 7 years ago. Before that, I was a teacher assistant at the Greater Egg Alternative School, formerly known as Duberson. 3 weeks ago, I spoke before this board for the first time. I told you then that I had no notes, but I was speaking from the heart. Well, today I have enough notes to fill a teleprompter, but my words are no less heartfelt. After much researching and soul searching, I have come to the same conclusion. The outsourcing of the paraprofessional position is simply a bad idea. Throughout my 50 years in the workforce, you heard that right, I have never been a believer in the concept of your workplace is like a family. However, after 7 years at Cedar Creek, and previous to at the alt school, I do feel that we are part of the community. I also feel that paraprofessionals, as currently constructed, are an integral and even essential part of that school community. When I had the honor of being recognized as Educational Support Professional of the Year this year at Cedar Creek, I was blown away by the response of the students. Kids whose names I never knew, never had in class, and never coached, stopped me in the hall to congratulate me and address me by name. They knew me as part of the Cedar Creek community, or maybe the Cedar Creek family. My concern, or even my fear, is that by contracting out the para jobs, you begin to lose that connection, that bond, that sense of community, perhaps even that feeling of family. In conclusion, I'm reminded of what Denny Foreman, yes, the same Denny Foreman, as in Dr. Dennis Foreman Drive, the road you came in on to come in the building tonight. He used to say that people in these positions with low pay are paid in the currency of the soul. I feel he would be sad to learn that this board is considering awarding that currency to the lowest bidder. I implore you, Mr. Keenan, Mr. Grossi, and board members, to please do the right thing. Keep the pairs involved. Don't contract out. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Melissa Tomlinson. I'm a resident here in Mays Landing, 4859 Hawthorne Avenue. I'm going to be blunt and say I don't want my tax money going to a private corporation. Okay? I want my tax money invested in the community. Atlantic County is one of the hardest hit counties across the nation right now. And the only way to get out of this serious issue that we are in is to take a serious look at what we're doing, invest our dollars in our community, and invest our dollars in what's right for the future. And what's right for the future is investing in our children. To hurt our such as the students with disabilities, the students with behavioral and emotional disorders, is basically racist and discriminatory. Point of disclosure, I'm also a teacher. I come from Buena, where we just recently voted against this. And this is one of the reasons why we voted against this, because we are still trying to hold on to that sense of community that people are still holding on to their homes in South Jersey for. And we want to build upon those feelings once again. We have insight in my district. We don't have it for the paraprofessionals, but we do have it for a substitute service. I was out last week for a meeting in Trenton. I didn't even have a sub covering my resource special education room. I have had subs in other rooms sleeping on cell phones. These stories that you're hearing that you think are exaggerated, they are not. I have a paraprofessional in one of my rooms. Most quietest man, does not complain, doesn't want to cause waves. He's a pastor in the community. But it was to a point where this one sub came in, he had to speak up. It was not even a safe environment for the students anymore. So I ask you, when you want to think about the dollar return investment, it's time for the schools to lead the way in doing the right thing and keeping these corporations from devastating our communities. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Robert Schober. I live at 2018 High Bank Road in Venezuela. So first I'm disappointed that your superintendent chose not to use the recommendation that I suggested at the last meeting by surveying the students that this was going to impact. Fortunately, you've heard a lot of really relevant feedback from the people that will negatively impact. And obviously I'm talking about the concept of privatized paraprofessionals. Secondly, let me share with you I'm a parent of a student with special needs. And I can tell you that before you make such a rash decision, he will not be able to attend or tolerate the use of itinerant aides, who will not demonstrate the quality and level of care that he receives now. Sadly, I don't believe that he would be able to sustain the school day. And under those circumstances, I'm going to tell you that aside from the consequences, the negative consequences of that, there's also going to be dollars and cents consequences to that. Because if he can't go to his present school, he's probably going to have to go to a special needs school, where it's going to cost you at least $35,000. Now I ask you, out of the students who are being affected here, I think the number was 39, I don't recall, but let's just say there's 10 of them. I don't know, I wasn't so good in math, but I can do the numbers on that one. That's $350,000 if you have 10 students who now have to go to a special needs school. It doesn't make any dollars or cents. Lastly, as a former Board of Education member with 14 years experience in 2 separate districts, I understand your position. But I would urge you to tell your superintendent to get his paper and pencil out and his eraser and figure this out, not at the expense of the paraprofessionals. So, I urge each of you also, as elected members, to represent the residents and the students of our district and to vote no on the superintendent's budget which plans to privatize the professional staff. To do otherwise will significantly hurt our most vulnerable students. I challenge you to find $350,000 someplace else. After all, it represents less than 1% of your budget. Do not balance this budget on the backs of the paraprofessionals who are dedicated, caring educators in their own right. To do so would be wrong. Exercise your vote to keep the paraprofessionals. And I might add also that I'm a substitute teacher after I retired from another career. And I worked at a school where I have seen itinerant aides. They don't work. And you may have been told some good things, but like so many other people who've given personal accounts, I have seen itinerant aides sleeping on the job, using their cell phone all day long, without regard to the special needs student they were assigned to care for during the day. That's wrong. This is not going to work. And so, again, without being redundant, do not fire the paraprofessionals.
My name is Luke Scott, and I attend Cedar Creek High School. Those of you who don't know me, I wear hearing aids, and you cannot see them because they're small. I go to school every morning terrified. I don't know when I'm going to bathe, I don't know how I'm going to feel. A couple years ago, I wanted to commit suicide because I had no one left to turn to. I now come to school knowing I see Ms. Thomas, Ms. Hardy, Ms. Martinez, and fellow other teachers knowing I can talk to them whenever I need to. You take away them next year, the fellow students like myself and others, who are they going to talk to? Because they're not going to talk to them because I know I don't want to. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Conchetta Stoto. I'm a resident and taxpayer and voter in Galloway Township. And I've devoted 9 years of my life to this district. I devoted that to my students. I've had the privilege of working with the most phenomenal teachers one could ever wish to work for, and I'm very proud of that. Being devoted to my students, I've taught them one-on-one as a class. I have helped them to know that just because they learn differently does not mean that they aren't smart. My students are very smart. They also understand things with the deaf far more than you would even know. They understand things very well. I can't reach this button. I have urged them to trust themselves, to trust their own intelligence, to believe in themselves. I have dried their tears of frustration when they've studied for tests or have not been able to grasp a concept because of the different way that they learn. For 9 years, I served this school district. This school district is the place where I myself came of age many years ago. My teachers were my heroes. You have shown me, really, how little you value me. First, by telling me my work here doesn't really matter, that you're going to replace me with contingent employees. You don't know my students. Even more, you have shown my students how little you value them by replacing those of us who they trust and look up to with contingents who neither know nor care about them. Charles Dickens wrote, "In the little world in which children have their existence, there is nothing so fully perceived and so finely felt as injustice."
Calhoun. I am a resident of Hamilton Township, graduate of Absegami High School, 1987. This board has done some amazing things. 1982, you built Absegami High School. 7 years ago, you built Cedar Creek. Thank God you put air conditioning in Oakcrest. So I've watched you do some amazing things. But the paint that you put on the wall, the flowers that you put in the hallway, the beautification process that you do with the schools, all of that one day is going to fade away. But what will not fade away is the spirit of the staff that works in these buildings. I'm all about relationships. And if I have a great relationship with someone, I can work with them all day long. I teach in Atlantic City. We use outside source for our substitutes. And if you want to talk about success stories, that's not one of them. It is horrible. It is absolutely horrible. And so, you know, Madam Vice President, I'm going to have to tell the story. Because if it wasn't for someone that's sitting on this board, there's a student of hers that may not have done something that he should have done. And because of the words that she spoke to me, because of relationship, I stayed the course. I haven't forgotten that relationship. Don't forget us. Don't forget us. Because that same relationship that we had, they are instilling every single day in the students that they see. We cannot be so money-wise sometimes. And I know that's your job. The superintendent, I can't even speak to you on this because they don't work for you. You work for them. It's a tough job, I get it. Decisions have to be made, I get it. I understand all of that. But you cannot destroy the spirit of the school. You cannot destroy the effort. I don't even want to call you parents. Of the teachers. Because students don't call them parents. That's their teachers. That's their friends. That's their These educators who are sitting right here, right now, who are bold enough to stand before you to say, you know what, I love this job enough that I'm going to fight for it. These group of people that are out here are standing behind them because we love this district enough that we are going to fight for it. I have been blessed to be in Greater Egg Harbor Regional District. It has blessed me personally. It has blessed my family. But I absolutely refuse to remain silent when an injustice is happening. The time for silence is over. I'm going to end on this. Because I read somewhere that somebody said that you could destroy this building in 3 days, I'll raise it back up. And they weren't talking about the brick and mortar, but they were talking about the spirit of that school. You cannot break the spirit. We are not going to stop. We are not going to go away. We are going to keep fighting until you do what's right.
Good evening. My name is Chris Bell, and I'm a special ed teacher at Absegami High School. I don't think I'm going to be able to top that, but I got some nice words to say about the paraprofessionals. I've been very fortunate to work with many of the paraprofessionals up here. And one thing that I learned is that each of them has a different role in the classrooms that they're in. I've been at Absegami for 10 years, and since I've started there, I've been in the resource setting, which is made up of students with learning disabilities and behavior issues. And for the past 3 years, I've been a part of the REACH program, which is made up of students with severe cognitive issues. A lot of the students are incapable of working individually, so they need support. The role of the paraprofessional in the classroom is to assist the teacher and the students. But for those of you that are not in that classroom every single day, their role goes much further than that. Even sitting here tonight, I bet the paraprofessionals don't realize how important their role is in our classrooms. What they provide: clarification when needed, a relationship of trust, someone the students can talk to, and consistency. The paraprofessionals truly care about the overall well-being of our students. They share the same goal as the rest of the educators here tonight, and that's student achievement. The consistency and familiar face they provide allow our students to run in a productive manner. So to all the paraprofessionals here tonight, I just want to say thank you for all you do for our kids.
Good evening. My name is D'Angelo McKell. I've shaken hands with several of you. I'm the 2016-17 recipient of the Education of the Year Award, and I am a paraprofessional. I'm here representing my fellow paraprofessionals, which are unsung heroes until tonight. So I thank everybody for coming out and showing support for the cause. I had a speech written out, everything, but everybody said everything that I wrote. So, but I want to just say, you deal with the numbers, the X's and the O's, but when you deal with these kids, you have to have relationships with these kids, because in this day and age, they're not going to listen to you. You got a lot of things out here, media, social media, negative influence, and it's being that they're young, they are easily influenced. And I work with kids with learning disabilities, but I'm also in the behavior room. And I work in Amsterdam, so I'm sure everybody knows the story that happened in September with the kid with the gun. I gotta say this because that really could have went bad in so many ways that money cannot justify. That kid sat in front of me 45 minutes with that in his pocket. I had no idea. But he came to me early in the day, smart kid, does all his work, but he's prone to violence. But he came to me and said, 7th period, can we play a game of checkers? He does his work, it's academic foundations, there's nothing for him to do. But he felt like he could come to me and play a game of checkers, and we talk about strategies and things like that. This is a kid that had a gun in his pocket. He came into school 5th period. Don't know, nobody knows what the gun was for or who it was for. It could have been for anybody. But that relationship that I was developing with this kid on something simple, he could have shot anybody at any given time. But he came to me and said, can we play a game of checkers? I mean, when everything was said and done, I thank God that nothing happened. But I gotta say, working with my supervisor, Mr. Sabbath, because it was his idea to put me in the class. Because the year before, I played basketball on my lunchtime with those kids. Mr. Sabbath had the idea of putting me in the class because I was developing a relationship with these guys. These guys, the situation is not necessarily, great on the outside. But the fact that they come to me and want to do things with me that they enjoy, basketball, checkers, just talking about stuff. You gotta have relationships. And I'm gonna tell you right now, you go and get an outside company to do that. I know some people that work in those companies, and their agenda is, I'm showing up, I'm a body, give me a check, I'm out. They're not invested in the kids. You gotta make the right decision because at the end of the day, the money's not gonna matter when something happens for these kids. You gotta make the right decision. Thank you.
also a resident of Hamilton Township for the last 12 years. I've worked with probably every single paraprofessional at Absegami, in particular, Kathy DeZugan, for 12 years. I could start a sentence and she would finish it for me. That is something you're not going to get with a revolving door. She is vital in helping me implement the Read 180 program at Absegami, just as every single one of these men and women are vital in the classroom they are in. You can't take that away. They offer consistency, support, love for these kids. A revolving door will not do that. I want to know, when these people come in, where do I find the time to let them know my expectations? Are we taking it away from instructional time? Am I taking it away from the kids? That's a question I've considered that. Someone new in my classroom every day, I have to stop what I'm doing to explain to them what I need from them. I know you see me with this little boy all the time, my little 3-year-old. He's been in early intervention. I do not know his future, but I know this. I would want the very best for him. I would want consistency. I would want these men and women in his classroom. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lisa King, and I've been at Cedar Creek for 3 years as a parent. I spent 20 years in the casino, in which I was laid off in 2010 due to lack of work. I was hired at Cedar Creek as a parent, a special ed. One of the questions at the interview I was asked was, how well do you do with children? And are you looking for full-time or part-time employment? Because the children need consistency in their lives. 20 years in the casino, it was clear to see that I'm a dedicated person. I'm a dedicated employee. From each day, the students come off the bus into the classroom. I provide energy. I'm a counselor. I'm a social worker. I'm a mother. I'm all above. I'm just not an aide. These children need consistency. They rely on us from day to day, and we identify with them just like family do. We all are passionate about what we do. We're no second-hand citizens. We are family. I am so blessed to have had the opportunity to work with these students, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Just some clarifications. I think in today's financial and fiscal planning, we have the AC bailout, we have our county tax and our municipalities. So we all know what pressure we're under for that. But first off, I wanted to commend the staff and administrators, because in this packet of the agenda, there are several grant and donation programs that I think the teachers and the staff and the administrators should be commended for, that they're digging deep to find areas to work and do things specifically for the kids, and I think that that's great. And before it gets missed, I think that needs to be addressed, because that's really awesome that we're finding these grants and donations to provide for the kids. I saw in this paperwork, in the exhibits, that salaries, we now have 104 people, certified individuals, making over $80,000. We have 41 individuals making over $90,000. This is teachers, nurses, administration, and we have one, and guidance counselors, and we have one individual making $101,000. So just in thinking of all of that, and I also saw in this packet that there are 13 less students in our school district, which seems to be an ongoing thing too. I have to say, I'm a mother of a special needs child. He has been here for 4 years. He's a high-functioning autistic child. We've never defined him by his autism. We've never thought he was less, only different. He's 6'3", so he kind of stands out in his differentness. But in saying all of that, he has had paras all the time with him. They have made an instrumental difference to him. They have not only supervised him, helped him with personal care or facilitating social skills, buffered him, redirected him, so many varying different things. But I have to say, to clarify, he has never had the same para year to year. This year alone, he has had 6 different paras. So just so you know that, not everyone has the same para from year to year, and not everyone has the same para all year. Now that's been something that we've worked on, and the school has been very good at working with us, because for him, it is very difficult to have someone different all the time. But I have to just clarify that from my perspective, that it hasn't been the same person from year to year. I would hope that if it did go that way, that there would be people who were skilled and consistency, but I'm not even thinking that route now, because what I'm thinking is that with the amount of money that has already been allocated to people who aren't with my son, and fortunately he's graduating, and because of the paras and because of his teachers, he's actually going to go to college. And that's awesome. But because of that amount of money, you're talking about 33 people who their salaries don't even equal that one person that's $101,000. And these are the people that are with my son all day long. He goes in and out of the classroom to various 6, 7 teachers a day. But that paraprofessional, that family, that friend is with him all day. It's that person that he's in contact with. That person is what makes the difference. And that's all.
My name is Linda Tellis. I reside in Vineland, New Jersey, and I am a proud employee of Greater Egg Harbor. I just have a few questions. I'm a little nervous, but I just have a few questions. I would like to ask each and every one of you, do you know how it feels to come in here every day and see these people that's sitting here, that's fighting for their job, how they interact with each and every one of these kids? When these kids come in here and they're making cupcakes, they're coming in, they're singing, they're coming in and they're asking for Miss Daughtry, they're asking for Miss Bonner. They're proud to be here because they interact with them. This is a family affair to me. This is a family affair because we do care, they care. I'm in here, I'm a custodian. And I'm around this building, and I see it on a daily basis. I see the interactions that they have with them. Even some of the ones that left and went to Cedar Creek, Absegami, that were here. I watch them because I personally take pride in the job that I do here. I take pride in knowing that the people that are sitting here fighting for their job, they do the best they can and go above and beyond. I take pride in working here and seeing Mr. James come up with Dylan. And Dylan's sitting there and he's excited. He's excited. It's Mr. James! Mr. James! Let me tell you. Mr. James sitting there and he's like, okay, Dylan, okay. And he's sitting there. You have to really come here and walk around sometime and see what they do. So I beg you and I plead with you today. So please, do not take their job. It's very important. It's very important. This is a family affair here. It's family. To take them away will be taken away from the heart of the very people that sit here each and every day and go out there in the snow, the rain, and do things and get things for these kids, to teach these kids how to make things, how to interact, how to go to the prom. You should see some of them that were so proud to go to the prom, come running in the next day, I went to the prom, I took a picture. It's so important. I beg you, I plead with you, please reconsider and keep the parent. Please.
Our line's getting longer, we really need to
I
let
have
stop.
90 seconds or less. Good evening, everyone. My name is Madeline Avery. I am a resident of Galloway Township, a veteran teacher at Absegami, a former president of the Greater Egg Harbor Regional Education Association, and a current member of the Galloway Township Board of Education. I'd just like to speak briefly about our district's paraprofessionals. As a board member myself, I am well aware of the financial dilemmas that face the Board of Education, but I'm equally cognizant of the value that our paras bring to the educational experience of our most vulnerable students. Their contributions far exceed their wages, yet their devotion to our students has proven to be consistent and unwavering. The health insurance and pension contributions that this district makes on behalf of our paras should be seen as an investment in our students, one that likely keeps them in the district. It is insurance that our most sensitive clients have steady, patient, and attentive professionals who have proven their worth, many over the course of decades of service. In my tenure at Absegami, I have worked with numerous classroom assistants in many different capacities. They've helped me in every facet of instruction, from assisting reluctant students interviewing elderly World War II vets, to chaperoning field trips to the nation's capital, to Ellis Island. They have attentively and patiently attended students in my classroom who need one-on-one supervision, or that need daily, or that need attendance, or that need assistance with academic endeavors. They rise to all occasions as professionals are required to do. They deserve to be included in this district. Our students deserve their assistance. Privatizing our paras will cost your employees their pension and most likely their health insurance. Your students lose talented, familiar professionals that they have grown to depend on every day. Keep our paras, invest in our students. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tim Jones. I am proud to say I am a paraprofessional. I'm a paraprofessional in the Pleasantville School District. And I must say, being a paraprofessional is more rewarding to me than it is to the children I work with every day. I have been a paraprofessional for about 9 years, and I've worked every grade level from pre-K3 to 12th grade. The value that I bring to the school environment is immeasurable. You gain respect, you gain knowledge, and you gain familiarity that cannot be replaced. Teachers tend to be in the classroom in which they are assigned year to year. They rarely move. Paraprofessionals, we move. I know, I'm in the 8th grade in middle school now, and I know kids that I knew when they were in kindergarten, 1st grade. It's an invaluable resource for your school district to have professional paraprofessionals. Everyone needs to live. I had a career in electronics before I became a school district member. The only thing that I really gained from being a paraprofessional is my health benefits, which I desperately need like anyone else. We all need to live. Thank God that I'm healthy. I use very little bit of my benefits, but I think I am happy to have them. And it's wrong to deny members of your community, which most of the paraprofessionals are, members of your community, that right to survival. Be proud that you have these hard-working paraprofessionals in your district and do not deny them their employment. Thank you.
Excuse me, the gentleman with the odd shirt was like the end of the line, after the line group before. We really need to like stop at some point. Is there anything you wanted to address other than the paras? Because I really think that we know 100% how.
There's one thing I wanted to add about the paras. We have a bunch of paras that are not just paraprofessionals, they are also coaches. They are advisors. You won't get that with a private company. Thank you.
Excuse me, what's your name again? I'm sorry.
Christine Curzon. I wasn't going to speak, but I feel for these ladies and gentlemen here today. Paraprofessionals are an integral part of your education process, and a majority of them work directly with students in their formative years, and even larger numbers work with special education students. Although they have many different job titles, all paras provide valuable services to the total education program, and it's important that their work is acknowledged. Trained paras help a school district deliver the quality education the community demands. Everyone benefits from the work of the paras, the students, the teachers and the administrators, and other members of the education team, such as speech language pathologists and occupational physical therapists, find that paras play an invaluable role in supporting their work. This allows the teacher to offer more differentiated instruction, and students benefit from the individualised attention that paras provide. I work with 400 paras in my district. I have the pleasure of working with 400 paras. These ladies and gentlemen in your district, your students will not thrive as well with an outsourced company who do not have the best interest of the child at heart. Thank you for listening.
Good evening. My name is Connie Baker. You have a very impressive community, and I want to thank the school board members for the service that you do. You don't get paid. And I've been to several board meetings around the area, and I need to say that an observation that I made is that each and every one of you listened to the people that came up. And you know that your role as a school board member is to look out for students. Education is not an agenda item on the school board agenda. It's the only item. I hope you listen. Thank you.
We have information items listed on, so I'll move on to the business agenda action items.
Okay, I'll move items P1 through P23 on pages 2 through 6, paying particular notice to the addition of item B23.
Second.
Okay, items B1 through B23 under business agenda have been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
Capone?
Yes.
Carr? Cheatham?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Garrison?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
Sartorio? Yes. Baldwin? Yes. Halp?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
I'll move items T1 through T14 on pages 7, 8, and 9.
Okay. T1 through T14, transportation items have been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments on those agenda items?
Carr?
Yes.
Cheatham? Yes. Erickson?
Yes.
Garrison?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
Sartorio? Yes. Baldwin? Yes. Capone?
Yes.
Halp?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
I'll move items E1 through E6 on pages 9.
Okay, education items E1 through E6 have been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments on those items?
Cheatham?
Yes.
Erickson?
Yes.
Garrison?
Yes.
Gunther?
Yes.
Sartoria?
Yes.
Baldwin?
Yes.
Capone?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
I'll move items P1 through P20. I guess it's P23, on pages 10 through 14, paying particular attention to the items that have been added to in the personnel agenda. I believe you have written down that.
Okay, personnel items P1 through P23 have been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
I have a change on P12, removing number 1 on P12. I'm going to remove number 1 on P12.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, with that change?
Erickson?
Yes.
Garrison?
Yes on all of them except one, abstain on P15.
Gunther?
Yes.
Sartoria?
Yes, however, abstaining to P1 and abstaining to item number 8 on P13.
We're not voting. I think P1 was amended. I mean, there's changes on that already. P12, item number 1 was omitted. Isn't that correct?
P12, just number 1 under P12.
And the rest of the changes you haven't added.
Baldwin? Yes. Capone?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Cheatham?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Okay, superintendent's report?
Just a few items. I really would like to thank our student leaders, our student class advisors, the teachers that advise the class, senior class, our teachers, and our administrators that organized and chaperoned our proms this year with this past weekend. The successful conclusion of the Cedar Creek and Absegami proms all went very well. Students had a wonderful time. Cedar Creek, of course, has Project Prom. That's years of planning, and this year especially for our class advisors, student leaders. Thank you all that chaperoned. That was a milestone in the lives of our students. I also want to highlight a teen summit that we attended, sponsored by the Coalition of Safe Schools. It was in the Atlantic City Press. It was a very nice report that Diane D'Amico did for us. She actually attended. We had students from area schools, of course, Cedar Creek, Oakcrest, and Absegami, together with Atlantic City and Pleasantville in our effort to bring students together. We had a teen summit to focus on social media. We had the prosecutor, assistant prosecutor present, our Galloway Township chief, as well as many other guest speakers and teachers. 20 students per school. Busing was donated in part by Integrity Bus, as well as Stockton. So I want to thank all that helped organize that. Students attended. I had the pleasure of seeing them in the morning. Whenever they interact with others, especially outside of our school district, it's a positive. So if you missed that, I just wanted to highlight that. So it was a great event. We're going to do that in the fall with various different themes. So those were the student items I wanted to bring to your attention.
Thank you. For my report, as we approach the end of the year, every year I just want to thank everybody that works at the school in any capacity, because I know in elementary school at least that the end of the year gets a little tough. Kids can get a little tired of school at Grammy, so thank you. I'm looking forward to 3 wonderful graduations. My grandson did attend one of the proms this weekend, and so thank you to people that worked in any of the proms. Project graduation was great, and anybody that wants to volunteer and help out at project graduation at the other schools, you should really do that, especially if you've never done it before. And that's all I have tonight. Old business?
Yeah, I'm going to bring up, earlier this evening, there was some cheering at a fellow board member exit. It was really inappropriate, and I'll tell you why. This individual was part of negotiations for 2.5 years. If you had read the newspaper, you might have missed it. The negotiations were the union representatives were requesting an 18% raise. This board member, excuse me, you've all had your chance, now it's ours. This board member went to multiple meetings fighting to preserve what we had in the school with a $4.7 million budget cut that this board and the administration had to deal with was very, very difficult. There is nothing we liked about it. But to cheer for somebody who was fighting for you. And I'm really grateful to the resident who brought up the salaries, because in the quiet of the evening, when there isn't public participation, people were sold down the river. They were told that cuts would be made over that contract, but there was no regard. 2.5 years, 3 board members fought for the community and for the students. We're not here because we represent a particular faction. We're here for the students. So when I hear the hypocrisy of saying, oh, we're here for the students, I don't believe everybody was. So I wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
I have an item, I'm not sure if it's new or old.
Okay, well, we're going on to it.
Okay, so I'm in the middle. Don't leave, Ms. Rock. I wanted to talk about the website. I keep going on the website to look things up, and every time I go there, there's all these great pictures of the kids winning things and achieving great things. And every week that I look, there's more and more, and it's amazing. It sometimes takes me 20 minutes to get to what I was looking for because I just have to see everything flipping by. One thing that we have in our packets again, and I know we've recognized already, but I think we need to really acknowledge Ms. Rock in the house, because I think she's... which is not just like you wanted to work here. I think that's not great, but it's a state thing, and she actually, did a great job and is representative of all the people who do a great job here every day and inspire those kids to do all those great things that they're on the website for. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other new business? We've already done open to public. There is no executive meeting tonight, executive session.
Motion to adjourn.